Thanks very much, Alison, and thank you for inviting me to be here this morning, this beautiful morning at the Aviva. And I want to start by congratulating Bord Gáis Éireann for organising this inaugural conference. Great idea. I know it's going to be a terrific morning, a few hours of deliberation, and you're going to be hearing from a number of legendary leaders in the course of your discussion. So I want to congratulate BGE and also congratulate BGE on their success. It's a great company. David Kerwin I work with closely, obviously. Eddie Collier is here as well. Terrific company. Wish you well. Go from strength to strength. I know you're doing that. And it's important that we work as government, which is what I'll be talking about in the course of my remarks, that we collaborate as closely as we can from government policymakers and people working so successfully in the private sector as you are. So that's extremely important. Backdrop to what I want to say. As I said, it's a great initiative to hold a conference like this. And I want to, I suppose, start by acknowledging the critical, really critical role that Irish business has performed and is continuing to perform in the sustainable recovery that our country is now thankfully experiencing. In doing so, I want to also share some thoughts about the relationship between business and SMEs in particular and the state. Because I believe that our continued economic success depends in large part on the government supporting and driving innovation throughout the economy. This is in addition to what I suppose is the traditional perspective or sense that we have of government's role, which is to provide the environment, the infrastructure and the public services that businesses need if they are to enjoy sustained success. As Alison mentioned, I have responsibility for government policy on communications, also energy, vital infrastructures, I think you'll agree, that every business depends on. But important as they are, I believe that the relationship between business and government goes far beyond broadband connectivity and energy costs, as I say, important and all as they undoubtedly are. Last month, I received a very considered, I got a lot of emails, and I got a very considered email from a constituent, a young commerce graduate here in the city on the south side, who's established already 2 small startups. And he was concerned that his peers, his college mates, had all opted to seek secure employment. In other words, they got so-called real jobs rather than becoming entrepreneurs. And he went on then to share some ideas about what the government ought to do to address this. I suppose what struck me most of all was the line in his email where he said that he understood that the Labour Party, of which I'm honoured to be a member, was, in his words, more focused, as he saw it, on social issues than on encouraging entrepreneurship. And I think this perception is a challenge for my party and indeed for other parties. Of course, I'm happy that there's a strong recognition of our commitment to social progress. But just as important for me is the need to build a strong and sustainable economy, one that is responsive to the rapid technological change that's taking place right now, change that is literally framing a whole new economy. Government and business, together with employees and trade unions, have to recognise this change and have to understand its potential for innovation and for job creation. Now, in prioritising job creation, the government has recognised the important role of SMEs, and we have put in place a range of initiatives to support the sector. Startups, as you may know, have accounted for 2/3 of the 90,000 new jobs that have been created across the economy since 2012. That's 60,000 new jobs from startups. 60,000 new jobs. So it's crucial that public policy continues to foster the successful development of job-creating entrepreneurship, which means supporting the small enterprises that make up over 90% of businesses in Ireland, accounting for almost 70% of employment. And we're doing this through a number of significant initiatives, like the Action Plan for Jobs, the development of regional enterprise strategies, the National Policy Statement on Entrepreneurship, which was launched last October, which aims to double the jobs impact of Irish startups over the next 5 years. Through my department's support for initiatives like the Digital Hub, which has nurtured almost 300 successful companies, and the National Digital Research Centre, which invests in early-stage digital research ideas and projects. And next month's Startup Gathering, which will promote Irish innovation to national and international audiences, with over 300 events planned across 5 days in 5 cities. Again, an example of initiatives that are taking this agenda forward. Turning initiatives like these into tangible benefits takes determined leadership and effective partnership, it seems to me, between business and the state. And as you'll appreciate, it also costs money. Now, there's a rather simplistic notion, at least I think it's simplistic. I'd love to have a chance to debate it, but unfortunately I can't wait for the morning's deliberations. But this simplistic notion, as I see it, even though I think it's somewhat discredited now, that government support for entrepreneurship amounts or should amount to reducing taxes, minimising regulation, getting off the pitch and leaving business to get on with it. Now, frankly, I think we should reject this notion as completely outdated and actually misconceived. Look across the world, look across the globe. Governments have often been the first to invest in the technologies that have developed into economic pillars supporting millions of jobs. The examples are literally all around us. Aviation and space, semiconductors, the internet, GPS, green technologies. In her book, The Entrepreneurial State, Mariana Mazzucato reminds us that the US National Science Foundation funded the algorithm that drove Google's search engine, and that early funding for Apple came from the US government's Small Business Innovation Research Programme. Yesterday, along with other EU energy ministers at a meeting in Luxembourg, I heard Elon Musk talk about his extraordinary innovations, including his Tesla electric vehicle and Solar City. These advances literally are leading the way to a revolution in the production and storage of energy by deploying amazing advances in technology. Elon Musk certainly is an extraordinary and gifted pioneer and entrepreneur. But he would not have achieved a fraction of what he has without government support, which, by the way, is something that I believe that he has acknowledged. In a review of Mazzucato's book that I mentioned a moment ago, the Financial Times chief economic commentator Martin Wolf wrote that, and I quote, "The failure to recognise the role of government in driving innovation may well be the greatest threat to rising prosperity." Unquote. Ireland needs a major renewal in many areas of public infrastructure, including smart grid, high-speed broadband connectivity, transport links, water, and many other large-scale projects. And I think that Irish companies, for example, those in the IT sector, but many more, can be part of and can lead, in fact, be part of leading this energy revolution. Already I've met so many, even just the year I've been in this job, I've met so many young graduates who are keen to commercialise their ideas in the energy sector. But just like Elon Musk, they can't do it on their own. They need support and they need investment. And some, at least, of this must come from government. This can be directly through agencies like Enterprise Ireland, Science Foundation Ireland, or the Sustainable Energy Authority. or it can happen through EU funding instruments. And there is incredible work being done in the universities and the other research institutions collaborating with business to drive innovation and to deliver jobs and sustainable growth. And I think all of this demonstrates that there is an absolutely critical, indispensable role for the state in the formation and development of entrepreneurship. And it goes further. Publicly funded education and health services are also essential to ensure that we have healthy and well-educated citizens capable of becoming business leaders of tomorrow and skilled employees in a modern, knowledge-based economy that can prevail in the digital world. And of course, the tax-resourced public space includes housing, the arts, culture, sport, heritage, urban and rural development, and so much of what any society needs to sustain human happiness and fulfillment. As the United States Senator Elizabeth Warren eloquently put it recently, quote, "We don't know where the next big ideas are going to come from, but we sure know that the entrepreneurs of tomorrow are going to need electricity, connectivity, water, and quality graduates," unquote. IBEC's recent Budget 2016 submission, called Invest Ambitiously, called for an additional €1 billion of government investment every year, with resources targeted at productive investments which will result in more and better jobs. That's a quote. If that were to be achieved, with the current budget envelope, the investment spending ratio in Budget 2016, for example, would be 75-25. As you know, the government has agreed a 50-50 balance between tax reductions and spending increases in the forthcoming budget. Income recovery is essential after the recession. But it seems to me that a 50-50 ratio would not deliver the public investment required to deliver or to develop the recovery beyond 2016. And so we will need to push further in the direction of public investment in the years ahead. Having survived a near catastrophic economic collapse, we have the chance now, the duty, in fact, to renew our commitment to invest in the next generation. This requires ongoing stability in public policy to ensure that our economy stays firmly on the path to sustained recovery. It won't surprise you, ladies and gentlemen, to hear that I believe this stability can best be delivered by the current partners in government. But it also requires a mature conversation about the relationship between tax, investment, public and private investment, and a successful economy capable of delivering innovation, business success, decent jobs, sustainable growth, and high living standards. I know that's what your objective is too. I want to thank you for your attention, and I want to wish you well and hope that you enjoy a fruitful day. Thank you very much.